boys and girls, and welcome back to another video of the Sound Lab. Today's question on KD answers is coming from my dear friend Omar. Let's read his question first before we get cracking on an answer. And here it is. I've been listening to your vinyl collection and this is a unique experience. However, when we listen to your streamer, everything is crystal clear and detailed. I feel I like records more, but I think the CDs and the streamer have better quality. What would you say is better? Gosh, let's open up another can of worms today and let's try to tackle it in a politically correct manner. This is one of these great debates where better really depends on what you value most. And I will explain. Without touching upon the word better, I will start by explaining the characteristics of vinyl, which are: there is something special about the ritual of pulling out a record and dropping the needle. Secondly, the large album art and physical presence create a different relationship with the music. Thirdly, some people prefer the warm and attractive sound character of vinyl. Fourthly, it makes it easier to listen to albums as complete works rather than skipping around through the songs. And lastly, there is a collectible aspect that feels meaningful. On the other side of the argument, the digital argument is: one, objectively, it has higher fidelity. Digital can capture wider frequency ranges and a dynamic range without the physical limitations of a needle in a groove. Secondly, there is no degradation over time, as vinyl wears off. Thirdly, it is vastly more convenient. You can have millions of songs instantly available through your phone. Fourthly, there is no surface noise, no pops or crackles, as you can see here on the vinyl. Lastly, you can listen to it exactly as the artist mastered it. The digital side claims that the warmth that people hear in vinyl is actually harmonic distortion and the limitations of the format. Also, many modern vinyl releases are cut from digital masters anyway, so you are essentially getting a digital recording with vinyl's limitations that are added on top. According to them, the digital sampling rate is mathematically perfect, based on the Nyquist-Shannon theorem, and therefore it is objectively more accurate. On the other side, the analog side claims that the sound waves are a continuous analog phenomena. A microphone diagram moving in continuous fashion, creating continuous electrical signal. Vinyl reproduction is also continuous. The stylus rides in grooves, creating a continuous electrical signal that becomes sound. Therefore, this continuous physical chain is more true to the original event. Actually, both are right, but both are also wrong. The digital reproduction chain absolutely adds its own character, starting from the digital to analog converters. The quality of the conversion process, potential filtering, and how the digital system reconstructs the waveform from those discrete samples. It's not neutral, it's not a transparent window despite the marketing claims. It is measurably more accurate to the master tape. Yes, it is. On the other hand side, the analog chain isn't as pure as it seems or as people claim. There is cutting limitations on the base frequencies to avoid making the needle jumping around. The high frequencies must be boosted during the cutting by up to 20 decibels, then de-emphasized during the playback. This adds noise. The physical stylus has mass and can't perfectly track the groove. There is always some mistriking, especially on the inner grooves. Each physical transfer during the vinyl process introduces distortions, despite how small these are. The groove itself physically changes the waveform, and this is another reason why vinyl is not as pure as some people claim. So, where lies the truth in what is better, since we established that both have trade-offs? The answer lies in the differences between technical accuracy and perceptual realism. The vinyl playback chain introduces a lot of elements not presented in the original recording. Subtle harmonic distortions from the cartridge's coils moving through magnetic fields, tiny random variations from physical friction, or complex resonances through the tone arm, plinth, and cartridge body, which, might paradoxically make the reproduction sound more real, because live sound in physical spaces also has these kinds of complex random microvariations. Therefore, the vinyl might sound more convincing, as our brains evolved to process sound created by physical objects in motion. The subtle distortions and noise floor of vinyl might trigger pattern recognition that says a real physical object making a sound. The second and third order harmonic distortions vinyl adds are similar to what acoustic instruments naturally produce. 4. The very imperfections might provide cues our brain uses to locate and identify real versus reproduced sound. Many mastering engineers and musicians who have access to the absolute best of both formats still prefer vinyl for certain types of music. That suggests there is something beyond mere nostalgia at play. Digital is more accurate to the master recording. Whether that accuracy translates to more convincing realism is subjective and might depend on the listener, the specific recording, the playback system, and possibly even the type of music. Our main belief is that the continuous physical mechanical nature of vinyl creates a more convincing illusion. My reply to Omar is that what is better is what is more believable. That ability to make a reproduced recording believable depends primarily on the system itself and thereafter on the quality of the media, the vinyl, the pressing itself. For casual listening, the odds are that a digital system will sound better most of the times. However, for critical listening on a revealing system and with carefully curated vinyl records collection, the vinyl will be more believable and thus more pleasing. In short, vinyl is more complicated and hit or miss to sound better, while digital makes everything easy. What is your trade-off? Thank you for watching another episode of the Sound Lab. And if you really like this video, it would greatly help if you comment, like, and subscribe. It appears that the algorithm loves this process. We read all the comments and we reply to those we feel we can add value. See you all very soon.